Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw. On today's episode, we're going to be reviewing WWE SmackDown, AEW Collision. Did I sound like a downer when I said, welcome to Going In Raw?
No, you did the, hey, Steven Larson. And you said, hey, friendos.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
And then into the normal thing.
I was like in my head in that split second moment. My brain was firing off whatever signals to say, okay, are you going to talk about being 10 years deep into Going In Raw, or are you going to call it the only wrestling podcast you got to be listening to?
Paralysis, yes.
Right, exactly. So in that split second, the little hamster guy in my head, like, squeak, 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 fell off for a moment. But
like the other day when I forgot my name for a second.
That's a little bit scarier than mine, my friend. That's kind of a different thing, not gonna lie, Larson.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the hamster getting off the wheel just for a moment.
You got to try some of them like brain stimulating mushrooms or something, man. Because forgetting your name is well, maybe you need to lay off them because forgetting your name is a scary deal, man. Just saying. I have concern for you, my friend.
Nothing to be concerned about. We haven't been playing basketball. That's the thing. I'm out of the routine I grew comfortable in.
Is the court going to be relatively dry tomorrow, Mr. Weatherman? It's not
supposed to rain tomorrow till tomorrow, like late afternoon, early evening.
All right, let's do it. Do it
then. I have not shot a basketball since the last time you played.
I think I went out like once to shoot around right after. Anyways, back on track on this episode of Going In Raw. We're going to give you guys a lackluster AEW Collision recap. We're also going to give you a robust WWE SmackDown recap. And we're going to be talking about the events of the weekend because they were plentiful, including Jack Perry going to New Japan Professional Wrestling in San Jose and ripping up a contract that had AEW written on it, and Nick Nemeth there in TNA. Where do you want to start today, Larson?
Well, I suppose we should start with the first two things you mentioned right there. I guess the Jack Perry showing up at Battle in the Valley, the New Japan show in San Jose on Saturday, was probably the more surprising of the two occurrences. Just because Nick Nemeth, a free agent now, he didn't have a whole lot of announced dates apart from, I think he's part of the New Beginning shows in New Japan. Yeah, he's taking on David Finlay. I think he has some dates booked in June, I want to say. Otherwise, his calendar seemed pretty free, so it seemed likely he was going to land, Nick Nemeth that is, more or less full-time in some promotion, whether it's TNA, maybe even New Japan, AEW. I think we both kind of thought it was going to be AEW.
Yeah, his
brother was there.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling out AEW just because, I don't know, it seemed like, hey, he's going from one, he's going from one high-profile cable television place. He'd probably want to, go to another high-profile cable television place, and instead he's landing on Access. But with Access, with TNA, it's not surprising to me given that over the past couple of years with Nemeth, we've seen that he has seemingly wanted to venture into other areas of entertainment, specifically stand-up comedy. And I would assume that maybe he'd want to try his hand in some acting stuff. I don't know. Like, it wouldn't shock me. They used to give out sitcoms to all the stand-up comedians, Larson, so maybe he's hoping to land a sitcom. I don't know.
I don't know, but I guess in terms of
TNA gives him freedom is my point.
It gives him freedom in terms of the schedule because he'll work 2-3 days a month probably.
Yeah, right.
Because they do batch TV tapings. They have the monthly pay-per-views at most 4 days a month working for TNA. He can do independent dates as he sees fit. He can do the comedy thing. And TNA probably gives him the best opportunity to be involved in main event storylines.
Sure. Yeah.
Than AEW would.
Yeah.
Because AEW, you probably pop up in something in the mid-card, maybe upper mid-card, be there for a couple months, lose that feud, and be off TV for a while.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas it seems like based on his debut in TNA, he's going to be involved right in the main event right away. Because he confronted Moose after Moose beat Alex Shelley for the TNA World Championship. So, I mean, in terms of all that, it's a situation where it gives Dolph the most flexibility to do stuff outside
of
wrestling. Put him in, main event storylines. and give him the flexibility to wrestle elsewhere, like TNA is kind of the best place.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for him. Also, like if you really think about it, and I don't know if this necessarily matters to him, but yeah, like you said, flexibility. There's a lot of really good matches for him in New Japan, which if he was in AEW, he'd probably have the flexibility to do that as well. But also in TNA, they just have a lot of really, really good wrestlers there, as does AEW. But it's like there's no shortage of those, where he's, given this is his decision now. And now with TNA announcing a formalized AAA partnership, we could see him showing up at Triple Mania as well. I mean, honestly, like Dolph versus Vikingo, that could be a really fun match. You know, Vikingo's I think he's like at 800 days or something ridiculous with that match.
Yeah, he's had that belt for about 2 years, I think.
He's had it for a very long time.
Yeah.
So he's on a Roman, maybe doing a Roman run here.
I know.
I
guess the only. So TNA, I said we were going to talk about Jack Perry show up in New Japan first, and here we are just talking about Nick Nemeth. Fine, that's cool.
It's all good. There's sort of two sides of the same coin because it's both a tad on the underwhelming side in terms of like big pro wrestling events. No, but Jack is on the thumbnail. But
I was going to get into one more thing about Nemeth, him going to TNA, and it's for the longest time, it felt like TNA had difficulty maintaining a strong main event scene for their world championship.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I don't know in the long term, I guess in the short term, Nick Nemeth with his resume and the value of his name can bolster that for the time being. But long term, I don't know if he would do much to correct that per se. It seems like the TNA main event scene now is TNA veterans like Alex Shelley, who's a great wrestler.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
And then you have Moose now champion, which I'm really shocked they have not done more to make him like the foundational piece of TNA Impact Wrestling. Like he's only had one short title reign before this.
Yeah, right.
Officially, I know he was carrying around that TNA World Championship before they did the rebrand and eventually lost it. But I guess if there's one thing that hopefully TNA can do now, following the rebrand, I mean, Hard to Kill was a fine show. Apart from the venue was awesome.
Yeah,
and apart from kind of the rebrand, out was the Impact, back in was the TNA branding. It didn't really feel like a wholesale change in terms of how they were telling their stories. And part of that maybe is because they haven't had any new programming in 2.5 months.
It was just Impact, It was just and look, the TNA rebrand marketing move, get in some some people who might have fallen off, bring them back. It's all just, hey, let's get some eyeballs on this so that we can show them what we can do to see if we can turn that into some long-term fans. They do have such a deep library now that they can use that. So yeah, I think the rebrand, I think it was a successful sort of relaunch of TNA, but Scott D'Amore is still the man there, and he's going to book the way he books. When Dirty Dango is booked in a match against PCO, they do a quick wonk finish, a DQ thing, and it leads into a tag match. That's a TNA Impact thing. Like that's just what they always do. You mentioned they haven't had a taping in like 2 months. Well, Trent Seven is now not available, so they have to reconfigure things. That's just part of doing business with Impact, now TNA, and that's just, it is what it is. Things happen in pro wrestling, and you got to move with it. They're not doing live, and that's fine. It doesn't fit their business model, so good for them. But it's still a place where you see some really solid wrestling. Mm-hmm. They make the most of every division and seemingly every roster member they have, more than anybody else, more than WWE and more than AEW, where you get a robust women's division and a women's tag division, and they use them and feature them in a high profile spot. Every division is sort of like the parity between divisions is kind of the strength of the company.
Absolutely.
When you talk about sort of the men's world title scene, traditionally in pro wrestling, the main event scene, although I'll be honest, like with TNA, and I think this is really cool of them, their knockouts division has been much stronger than the booking of their men's division and the talent they have there. The bottom line is the dudes who are going to be your marquee attraction men, they're in WWE or AEW because that's who WWE and AEW wants. AEW features a single women's match per episode of TV, and they load up in the dudes. And WWE, to be completely honest, do kind of the same thing. Like they feature their women more prominently than AEW does, but still they love them dudes, right?
Yeah.
And so that leaves TNA with a dearth of dudes. And if you look at who they have now, there are some kind of interesting pieces. I didn't notice. Did Hammerstone actually sign with TNA? Do we know?
Believe so, no.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
If they can get him, that's a great name. That's an awesome piece for that type of thing because he's like a moose type guy, just really fit, good wrestler, athletic guy. And I think that'd be good. Josh Alexander's there, who's terrific. Yep. If they get some disgruntled people from AEW or even WWE to a degree, and I'm not saying Nick Nemeth is disgruntled. I'm saying, he was a release, but guys who are like, man, I'd prefer to have some freedom. I know Boogs is seemingly done with pro wrestling, but if they can get, if Ethan Page's contract comes up and he's like, I'm kind of done slumming it in Ring of Honor. This is not what I had envisioned for me. Let me go back my history there with Impact, barring the debacle with Karate Man movie. I don't know if that's going to be too much of a hump to get over, Larson.
Yeah, that could be a bridge too far.
Right. But and then also you look at New Japan, or if they have a talent swap with AAA for like longer programs there in the main event scene Chess Man, maybe Pagano,
Aerostar.
Nino Ambergisa to be specific. Then they can do a lot there. But yeah, that's the kind of that is sort of their weakness is sort of that the marquee men's division stuff, know.
Yeah.
But they have some possible pieces they can build up, and some guys who are perpetually there. Their X division is really terrific.
Yeah.
You can get at some point Kushida up there to, the men's main event scene. Obviously he's more of a cruiserweight than a heavyweight, but what does that matter? Alex Shelley was just their champion, That
hasn't precluded TNA from doing that in the past, not at all. No. Which I appreciate. The idea that if you're a cruiserweight, then you're stuck wrestling other cruiserweights for the rest of your career. That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
If you dominate the cruiserweight division and there's more interesting stories to be told with you moving up to the heavyweight division, by all means, do it.
You know what they could do?
What?
See, this is why Scott D'Amore needs to hire Going and Raw to be his brain trust, Larson.
Tell us why.
Listen, dude. See, remember that picture? There was that rumor that Triple H and AJ Styles were at Hard to Kill. It was super blurry.
Oh, it was the fuzziest of pictures. Yeah,
like the fuzzier than the freaking Bigfoot Zapruder film, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it turns out to be.
It was Grizzled Young Veterans. Yes, it wasn't Triple H. It wasn't AJ Styles. It was Zach Gibson and James Drake.
Because they kind of look like him from like in the fuzziest.
There was a bald dude like in a suit from behind.
Yeah.
And there's a dude with a beard that was standing next to him.
Yeah, right, with long hair.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, here's what you do. Because Gibson was originally supposed to be a singles guy in NXT UK.
Yeah.
Here's what you do. You rebrand him as a Triple H type guy as a different character so he can do double duty in Grizzled Young Veterans and then as a different character as a Triple H type and as like a singles guy. That's what you do. I don't know, like you could be like maybe you see if the Terra Rising trademark is out there.
Maybe.
This is why we need to be
Hunter
the
Hearst
brain
Helmsley.
trust. Yes, right, exactly.
Or Jean-Paul Levesque.
Jean-Paul,
that's what his name was in WCW as well.
Yeah, Jean-Paul LaFrance. How about that? Like
Something
you can't
like
do Levesque is a little bit. It's a bit much, but Jean-Paul.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Jean-Paul Lafranc.
Something like that.
Done. Yeah.
There you go. That's an idea.
Yeah, here we go. Champ Fear and Loathing has it right. Impact should bring in the guy who impersonated Eric Rowan.
Absolutely.
Richard A has been a member for 8 months now. Re-up says, what's this? Over 400 watching and only 81 likes. We'll get to that. Listen, we're going to give plenty of time to come in, settle in, get their sandwich out, their lunch pail with their sandwich and their chips, and then hit that like button. Okay, I'm not going to finger wag just yet.
We'll wait till we get to. We'll talk about Jack Perry here in a moment and get people an opportunity to smash that
like button. Absolutely.
Like button before Steve gets that finger out and start wagging it.
Yeah, man.
Let's move on to Jack Perry. We haven't seen him since All In, since the backstage altercation with CM Punk. He was reportedly suspended for a stretch. Suspension ended, but I guess, I don't know, maybe they didn't have any creative form in AEW currently. Thought he might be involved in this devil business in AEW because there's a lot of windows and glass being broken.
Yeah.
And every time there was glass or a window involved in anything, people were like, that a reference to Jack Perry. Turns out, no, he was not involved in the devil business.
No.
Hadn't been on TV until he showed up at New Japan's Battle in the Valley on Saturday. He's got a thick beard. He came to the ring, attacked Shota Umino, ripped up what he said was his AEW contract.
Yeah.
A couple pieces of paper. One had a giant AEW logo on it, and there was a bunch of typing on it. And then he had an armband that said scapegoat. And then he walked away from the ring, and I saw this on Twitter. He looked at the camera, and it looked like he said something. I would assume he's referring to Tony Khan here. What, you can't pick up the phone?
Wow.
Maybe he's been trying to get a hold of Tony Khan, kayfabe, to get back to work in AEW. Tony Khan, no selling his calls.
Whoa,
so he shows up in New Japan, rips up his contract. It's like, I'm here now.
What do you mean kayfabe? This is completely 100% legit. Larson, I did some legal research. If you take an existing legally binding contract and you stand in the middle of a wrestling ring and you rip it up like that, you're out of your contract. You're done. You're good. You're free. You can go wherever you want. That's a little piece of advice. Anybody out there in AEW or WWE disgruntled maybe?
Why confine that to the world of pro wrestling? Anybody out there, period, who's unhappy with their contract? You're a baseball player, unhappy with your contract. Go to the middle of the field. Just middle of the game.
Right.
Middle of the field. Just rip it. Guess what? Free agent. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's legally true. That's legally true. Luke Owen, Wrestle Talk, right? Come here on Going in Raw with your Wrestle Talk contract. Rip it up. Welcome to the family. Boom. You're done. Larson will go and then it'll be good. Yeah.
Wait, I'll go where?
Whatever happens. So... Hey, did our Survival Series ever go up? I never even checked.
Yes.
It did? Okay,
yes.
Wow. Oof. I don't know if I want to read those comments. I'll feel bad about myself. What about the second one?
I just got something from Luke says, I think it went up today.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Over at Parts Fun Known, Survival Series. I did much better today. If that one went up today. Yeah, because the first one I did awful. Just awful.
Yeah, I did too. I did slightly better than you in the first.
You did slightly better than me, but neither of us did good at all.
No.
I want to see this now. Let's get back to Jack Perry. Ripped up that contract, all a bunch of storyline. Do you like this as a way to reintroduce him to wrestling? Because I kind of do, to be honest with you. I think number one, the devil stuff would have been super cheesy. It made sense. It was Adam Cole. We called that from the beginning. But I'll be honest with you, like him going to another promotion, doing the, I'm disgruntled because I'm the scapegoat. I'm the reason why everything's bad, even though I was just standing up for myself. I'm assuming that's going to be kind of his thing.
And stand up for the company.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Too. And now I'm the pariah. I kind of like that. I mean, look, I don't know if I'll end up ever giving a shit about Jack Perry as a wrestling guy because I didn't before, but this is a step in the right direction. I kind of like this. I'm not going to crap on this. I kind of want to see where it's going to go. He attacked Shota Umino, and we'll see if that'll probably lead to a match. But instead of going straight back to AEW and doing the same sort of cheesy stuff while appearing on their program, do it in New Japan. I kind of like this, to be honest with you.
It's like Jack Perry going on excursion. It's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it seemed like him turning heel was kind of leading to mixed results. There are some aspects that were funny, like when he dove into the car as was getting away and whatnot. But there was other, like I understand the reason I think they chose the theme they chose for heel Jack Perry it never really quite worked with his character in my mind in terms of setting a tone that was more fitting his character. But if they have a good angle on the story for him in New Japan, and it's more or less him going on excursion, trying new things from a character perspective, from an in-ring perspective, maybe he'll be involved in Best of Super Juniors or something this year. I think that'd be pretty neat. Give him time there to really explore who this character is and how this character informs what he does in the ring. And when he comes back to AEW, hopefully he'll be a stronger performer because of it. But in the idea alone that Tony Khan wasn't returning my phone calls and made me out to be the bad guy following the all-in altercation, even though CM Punk is the one that was publicly fired.
I know.
And because of that, I'm out of there. I'm in New Japan now. There could be some good stuff, and there's a lot of really cool matchups for him. I'd assume he's going to have a match on the next show, the one in Chicago that's got Mox and Naito, and then Mustafa Ali and Hiromu Takahashi.
Yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be a heck of a
be a great card,
heck of a show right there, heck of a card.
So I'd assume it'd be him and Shota there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and where will that lead? I guess the only question is this going to be like a short-term stop in New Japan to kind of reintroduce him and kind of figure out who this character is before he goes right back to AEW, or is he going to be there a year?
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Is he be there for 6-8 months?
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
You got to figure. I would think at the most, this would last until Forbidden Door, in June, because both companies sort of come together there. Yep. And to be completely honest with you, I kind of feel like it's going to lead to him being an AEW. I don't know, like next week. I doubt it's going to be like a proper excursion.
How can he be in AEW next week? He ripped up his contract. He's not a contracted AEW wrestler.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Tony Khan will tweet something out or something like that and be like, "Hey,"
he'll tweet out. I mean, actually, ripping up your contract has no legal bearing on the veracity of that deal. Therefore, the contract's still in place.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much everybody knows that. And so I kind of feel like it's a great visual, but yeah, I kind of feel like this might lead to, but hey, if it leads to something really cool, like what if he,
Tony Khan?
What if, yeah, even better. No, that's really cool though. What if it's this? What if he is used as sort of like a fishing lure to bring people over to Excursion to AEW? What if he goes there, gets some young dudes, brings them as his new faction over to AEW, and that's his way to come back to AEW, because everybody loves the factions in AEW. They can feud with the Bang Bang Gang or the Acclaimed or whoever else.
Well, give me some names.
I don't know, man. Yoda Tsuji. Although he already did his excursion. He already did his excursion.
And he's an LIJ.
All right, cool. So that one's off the don't yell at me. You asked for a name, Larson. Kazuchika Okada.
Leader of Chaos. Come on now.
The Tetsuya Naito. That's who. He's gonna be Jack Perry's henchman, Larson.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Who are their young boys right now? I don't even know who they are.
I don't know. Most of them came back and they've already factioned up. Like half of them went to Bullet Club.
Yeah.
I don't know if Yuya might not be in a faction yet.
Yeah, but he already did his excursion. Like, we need people. This is going to be their excursion, so he's got to get some. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So
I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
better
he's like,
yet,
hey,
how about he finds some more disgruntled talents in AEW and they go to New Japan with him?
What about this? He teams up with House of Torture, comes over to AEW, and we get some Dick Togo action in AEW. Love to see it.
I can appreciate the fact that House of Torture is a comedy act in Japan.
Yeah.
I would and I can appreciate it because I see their antics like a handful of times a year, and so I can laugh at it.
Yeah.
If it was on my TV on a weekly basis,
it'd
probably get pretty frustrating.
Well, I do like that Evil was seen in the production truck having them change
He was bullying somebody in the production department. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of awesome. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like, yeah, he'll do the thing. He'll be in New Japan. He'll have a match there. Then he'll be in the crowd for a couple weeks in AEW. And people are like, oh, wow, look at him. He's in the crowd. He's sitting out. He's having it. And then he'll have to like invade. He'll jump the barrier, tank a match of some sort. He'll wonk finish a match. And then Tony Khan will probably yell at him or something. I don't know.
Say, you're going to have a match 9 days.
9 days. 9 days of Revolution. You're going to have a match. Because I could see that happening too. Revolution's around the corner. Who's he going to have a match with the Revolution? They'll change the Sting match so that Jack Perry retires Sting.
Interesting move.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, before we get going with our WWE SmackDown and Collision recaps, I want to point this out really quick. We have a Patreon. It's called it's a whole setup. It's a Friendo Club setup is what it is. We've heard about the Tribal Chief setup. It's for one man and with, great understanding. It's Roman Reigns. He gets a Tribal Chief setup. Well,
not for anybody else, especially.
It's especially not for Seth Rollins. Number one, you got to know how to sell it back. But one thing that Seth Rollins can get is the Friendo Club setup. And there's two ways for your convenience to get that. And that's by clicking join on YouTube or going to patreon.com/Steven Larson. $5 a month on either of the platforms gets you access to our bonus episodes. We just dropped a new episode of Friendo Cast this past Friday where we answered all of your non-wrestling questions. And we talked about, I forget, what was my how to YouTube. How much we would sell Going in Raw channel for.
Lots. Sorry.
Steven Larson's Going in Raw WWE and AEW podcast.
Correct.
Something like that.
Here's a spoiler a bit. A lot.
Yeah, it cost a lot of money. Like more than Wrestle Juice, but even Wrestle Juice is kind of a pretty penny. I'd sell that for,
Yes.
And you'd get this awesome hat that I'm wearing right now.
We didn't discuss Friendo Club. How much we'd part with Friendo Club for?
I mean, probably a little bit less than Wrestle Juice because, less established, but on the rise. Yes. So yeah, we did that on FriendoCast. Basically, if you have questions about, hey, how do I YouTube better? We had a pretty robust discussion on getting started in the content creation world. So you can check that out now as part of the Friendo Club setup. Also, get access to all the question threads that we have available for our recap episodes. We're going to read some questions later on in the show today. And those are exclusive to Friendo Club setup members. And you also got access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Who came away with the advantage?
Let me check because there were some issues with the tally.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if that's still the case, and if it is not, then I can let you know who won in moments.
Of course, continue. Michael Keith Thornton, currently our Big Blue Predictions champion. I still have to do that graphic because apparently he's a bot. He didn't reach out to us to get his picture up on the Big Blue thing. And yeah, so there's that. That's going to be going down at the Royal Rumble. There's still time to get your Friendo Club set up so that you can join us for the Royal Rumble Big Blue Predictions Challenge. The championship is on the line. Should be a wildly fun live stream there. And yeah, so there you go. Any ideas now? Like you got the guy there? No,
it's still
okay. It's still being wonky.
I'll have to reach out to Cody.
All right, cool. So there's that. Also, do us a solid. We're on the road to 199,991 subscribers on YouTube, and we are currently at 199,314. So we are inching closer towards that sub goal.
677? Is that math right?
600, I think, be, what did I say, 314?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be 680? Wouldn't it be 680 something?
No, because carry the one.
Carry the one. 314. Oh, yeah, 991. Okay, 991 minus 314. 677. Yeah, I was thinking of 200,000. Once we pass 200,000, we are going to do a short film, though.
We are. And, we passed our last goal, 198,891. Because of that, we did a 12-hour stream on Saturday.
Ooh,
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Huge shout out to our mods.
Oh, yeah.
We got the best mods in the entire universe.
We do, absolutely.
Hands down. Thank you for Mr. Dope, the B-Man Patrick Sparks, the Raw Observer joining us for that last hour.
Mm-hmm.
Help us down the home stretch because, man, I was getting tired.
Oh, yeah. Well, Collision was on. Collision was on.
Collision was on. More on Collision a little bit. So, but that being said, 12-hour stream, much more manageable than 24-hour stream.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Much more manageable. So who's to say we won't do another one of those? So, but thank you, everybody. And thank you for Kyle for making a bunch of GTA tracks.
Yeah, that GTA stuff was fun.
The show.
It was kind of fun. It was not fun when I was losing. It was fun when I was winning.
And you were going to say that.
Yeah. So there's that. And then also be sure to hit that like button. Let me see where we're at now. Because earlier I was like, I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure everybody will do.
We're up to
171 and 602 concurrent viewers. So not quite
halfway where we'd like to be.
Yeah. So I don't know about that.
This is kind of your last warning. Otherwise, Steve's going to start wagging the finger.
Yeah, I'm going to go off on some people.
That.
I'm not going to go off on MPR, who's been a Friendo Club member now for 8 months. Says, you guys are the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MPR.
MPR, we appreciate it. All right, man, let's talk about WWE SmackDown. Bayley has just the absolute worst friends, Larson. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
You know, she was looking for some help. She did the old, hey, I'm going to distract the ref, claiming my knee is hurt, while Bianca is, primed for a wapa, and I need you guys to help me out here. And instead nothing, man, nothing. And then later on, the most condescending Dakota Kai, saying, hey, Bayley, we wanted you to do this on your own. And I'm sitting there like, man, oh man, Bayley needs to dump all that dead weight. Can't trust any of them. But, I imagine it's hard. She built Damage Control, and it's hard to, she has a vision. Exactly. So where do you see that going with Bayley and Damage Control? When is this going to reach a real head?
It's just, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen, but I would think Bayley winning the Rumble and into the process of either getting jumped out of Damage Control or wanting to prove a point, saying rather than going after Rhea, guess what, I'm going after you. Or maybe it's a situation where, say, Becky wins the Rumble and she says, I'm going after Rhea, and then they have this, maybe they have a Elimination Chamber match at Chamber where it's Bayley, maybe Asuka's in there too.
Ooh.
And, where there's usually 6 people in the Chamber match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you have Bayley, Asuka, and Kyrie all in there.
Ooh.
And Bayley manages to get the win there, and then at that point, her hands is out of her control. At that point, she has to go after Io. Maybe that might be the direction they go, because if it's a situation where she's declaring, "I'm going after Rhea," she wins the Rumble unless she gets kicked out of Damage Control between now and Rumble. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of the story they're telling and what her vision is. To say, no, I'm not going to go after Rhea. I'm going after Io at this point.
I like her winning the Rumble more because I think, given the Becky, Nia, Rhea story that's being built, I don't think Becky needs to win the Rumble. I mean, obviously that's a good way to do it, but, with Nia about to take on Rhea, they're doing that. Rhea obviously wins that, and Becky's like, well, I got beat by the guy who, but I got beat by the person who just got beat by Rhea. I want to get to the main event. I'm focused. I got in the Rumble, but, who knows what happens there. And she fights her way back up, gets her win over Nia Jax, and then, is able to say, hey, look, man, I just beat Nia Jax, the person who took you to the limit in Perth or wherever they're going to do that match. That's going to happen at the Rumble, isn't Rhea Nia Jax?
What?
The match, the Rhea Ripley.
Might be at Elimination Chamber. It might be.
That's what, early February? Is that February? Elimination Chamber. Late February.
Like February 23rd.
Okay.
Didn't Nia declare for the Rumble?
Oh, did she? Okay. If that's the case.
She did.
I don't know. Too many moving parts, man. I'm too old for this stuff. But yeah, I kind of feel like the whole Becky losing to Nia is going to sort of justify her somehow getting to Rhea Ripley in some way, shape, or form. She's got to beat Nia first in order to get to Rhea, and that'll happen.
Exactly.
And so that does leave Bayley. I think Bayley, especially if you have Bayley, Asuka, Kyrie in the Rumble, like you mentioned, and Bayley ends up winning, maybe by eliminating Kyrie or something, or Asuka, and she's like, hey, I still want to be on the same team with you guys, but they're like, kind of like, fuck you, you eliminated us. Like, they're take, and Bayley's just give. That's going to reach a breaking point, and then she's like, well, fuck you then. I'm going after you, EO. And that's her big moment of, they do like a trial of Bayley or something. And at the end of that, she's like
the evolution thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The thumbs up. Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, they do something like that. And she chooses to go after EO. I think that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, that's a way. That's potentially a way to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they could also,
the stories there is going that direction.
Yeah. Unless they could do, I guess, if Trinity does come back, because it doesn't seem like Mercedes is coming to WWE, but like they could do a thing with Trinity where she helps her and they do a tag, maybe, I don't know, instead of the title. But
maybe.
I don't know. Be interesting. What was my original?
Who knows?
My original prediction was like Asuka and Kyrie were going to win those women's tag titles.
Tag titles, yeah.
I mean, he said that.
Otherwise, I guess on SmackDown, there's a scary moment during the Carmelo Hayes Austin Theory match.
Yeah.
During a Spanish fly spot, and thankfully it seems like they're both fine. But it looked like Austin Theory almost landed right on his head.
Yeah.
I guess what was the diagnosis? Facial
contusions.
Yeah.
For both, but it seemed like Carmelo came out okay because he was really concerned about Austin Theory, and Theory looked like he had his bell rung there. Good on WWE expert refs there, stopping that match immediately, and moving on. No Roman Reigns this week, which left the Bloodline in a bit of a predicament because Nick Aldis, who, man, part of me wants to see Roman Reigns come back and just completely annihilate Nick Aldis and be like, listen, dude, you keep fucking with us, you see what happens. And so Nick Aldis was like, hey, for all of your shenanigans, you guys are going to be in a match tonight. And it's going to be against Roman's 3 competitors. So if you guys can find, because Roman's not here, if you guys can find somebody
who's the third man, brother?
Who's the third man, brother? And they couldn't find a third man. Bob Lashley said no, pretty deadly, backed out after thinking that they could hop on that train. And
Carlito said no as well.
Carlito said Santos Escobar. And so yeah, in the end, like the competitors for the WWE Championship took out the Bloodline, making a statement there. So how do you think Roman Reigns is going to respond to that statement, Larson?
Smashing him. So the contract signing's next week. He'd be talking all sorts of crap. It's going to be interesting to see how the match of the Rumble plays out, because if we learned anything from this match, because for a vast majority of it, it was AJ, because Orton got taken out early on with a spike.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was AJ and LA Knight in basically a 2-on-2 tag match against Jimmy and Solo. And when they weren't bickering and arguing at each other, they worked pretty well as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they couldn't get out of their own way most of the time. So if the story is more or less, hey, if the 3 of you work together to a degree to take out Roman, then you have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you let your own egos get in the way, it ain't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Roman's just going to come at the contract signing, smash him.
Yeah, stack him.
Stack him, smash him. And then, of course, Orton comes in and then just wins the match within minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
After he makes his comeback.
Yeah.
From it as if in a fair fight, which is a huge if, Orton would totally win, probably.
Yeah,
against Roman.
Right.
But he's got to deal with LA Knight and AJ plus the rest of the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No chance. Not going to happen.
All 3 men are going to get that near fall. Come so close. Come so close.
When the other competitor is going to break up the pin. I know.
Are they? Let me ask you this. By the way, we just got a raid over on the Twitch from X3. Thank you. Thank you, man. Appreciate it so much. Go ahead and follow him on the Twitch.
Yes.
The link's right there. Are each Orton, Styles, and Knight each going to get a near fall on Roman?
Yeah.
Not just on each other, but on Roman.
They should on Roman to have one of the
Is
other
Roman going to take each of their finishers?
Probably.
Yeah, probably, huh? Yeah,
Probably.
it's gonna be like, so close.
And I'll be honest, I'm feeling less confident about the idea of LA Knight and Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and I feel like we're gonna get. I suppose it's still possible. Seems like we're gonna get an LA Knight AJ Styles feud coming out of the Rumble, and whether that goes all the way to Mania, I don't know.
I can
but
see
at least between now and April, we're gonna get LA Knight and AJ Styles feuding.
I could see that. Yeah, that'd be a solid feud. Yeah. I really at the Rumble I want to see Roman Reigns stack these guys. That was the best WrestleMania finish ever when he stacked them. That was beautiful. That was amazing.
I'm hesitant to think they're going to have Randy Orton involved in the stack, but you never know.
As long as he's on the top of the stack, dude. What's the ideal order of the stack? It's Randy, AJ, LA Knight, right?
I mean, LA Knight should have been pinned by, but AJ's a former champion. I don't know if you can put him on the bottom of the stack.
Yeah, AJ's got the credentials. Come on. AJ's got
LA Knight has to be the bottom of the stack.
I love LA Knight, but he's at the bottom of the stack with those two guys.
He's got to be at the bottom of the stack.
You know, he's got to prove himself first, man. Be an NWA champion.
If he can overcome being the bottom of the stack, then maybe he deserves to be a world champion someday.
Then his credentials have much improved. Yeah, he can put that on his resume. Wasn't the bottom of the stack. We also got the name of the new faction with Karrion Kross, Authors of Pain, and Paul Ellering, who are in a feud with Bobby Lashley and his dudes who don't have a name yet, but there was a rumor they were going to be called the Pride. Mm-hmm. The Final Testament.
Yeah. That video package,
Final Testament, thumbs up. Final Testament,
it's all right. It's fine. But I thought the video package they rolled on the Tron was really good. Like the editing.
It was awesome.
Production aspect. The last two of them they've done have been really good.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
I feel like Cross has the confidence now in his delivery, like, they're actually going to do something with me.
Yeah, right.
It feels like there's a little bit more oomph to it.
Yeah.
And they're getting Scarlett involved more. It's promising. You know, it's been interesting to see the story with Cross where them. You know, it was after wins over Cross that Nakamura turned heel, AJ turned heel.
Yeah.
There's a couple other examples. Drew McIntyre. And he mentioned that during this thing. But now he says, I think Scarlett says, yes, we've been destroying people from the inside. Now we're going to do it from the outside as well. So if there's a thing where he's involved in stories where people come out of him changed, plus they're getting wins, that's cool. I just want interesting stories. And regardless if the name's good or not, it seems like there's a good setup to tell some interesting stories.
Well, I mean, the Judgment Day is kind of a mouthful, too. You know, the Final Testament. I mean, he should be, talking about that. I think in the promos, like, I've been changing a lot of people, but then I look at my cage match rating and I see the matches and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a dog shit record. So these guys, Razor, Akam, and Paul Ellering, they're going to help me actually get some pins here. We've lined up a series of what they call jobbers.
And more importantly, get my cage match rating through the roof.
I need to start stacking some jobbers. Can I do that? Does that count for does it count for 2 wins if I stack 2 jobbers in the same match? Because my God, it's like a 33%.
If I put them both in a cross jack at the same time, does that count as 2 wins?
Is that 2 wins?
But yeah, I mean, it's intriguing. It's an interesting direction and from a production standpoint, it's really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome.
I also thought the Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne.
Oh, that's right. We're getting Pete Dunne back.
I thought that was really well done. This is an instance where Tyler Bate, the character he's kind of been working on through the years, really works.
Really works because it's juxtaposed with like Pete Dunne and what he brings to the table, which is just brooding.
Brings out their natural chemistry, which we've seen them have before. So it's not like Pete or Tyler Bate telling people to do breathing work or meditate or something, some random dude in NXT that he has no history with. It's with Pete Dunne, and we know what they've done in the past.
Yeah, right.
And I'm hopeful. I don't know if this is going to happen. The fact that Tyler Bate referenced William Regal. You bring Regal in to manage them.
Yeah.
And then if you want, you could bring in Charlie Dempsey too after he's done with his excursion. Or if he might be done with his excursion already, that would be awesome.
It's like he'd be like the Shemp to Trent Sevens, freaking whoever the
Curly.
Was it Curly?
I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Curly was the guy who was out and Shemp was in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was weird. I was like, Shemp is in. He looks kind of like Mo. Why isn't Mo out?
Yes.
It was because Curly, I think, had health problems.
Because I think Regal, the TV non-compete has expired.
I think that's about to be done. Yeah, the scam has been pulled off. Yeah, well, Trent Seven wasn't at. Maybe Trent Seven had a clause in his contract with TNA where he was like,
"Oh, you think maybe he?"
Yeah, or he's just gonna show up and do this, and he's like, I have. If one of two places calls, I get out of this contract, either WWE or Glass.
Maybe there was a Gloss this weekend. That's why he wasn't.
Maybe there was a Gloss. How many glosses are there per year?
I don't know, but if there's a Gloss, he's got ravers to interview.
Dude,
so
he's got man on the street interviews that he's got to talk to and ask them what they like better, house or EDM. What do you like?
Eating a hamburger? How is it?
And then one guy says, "Shout out to Tyler Bate," and he's like, "All right, yeah, Tyler Bate's great."
He's like, "Move on, come on,
move on. This isn't wrestling talk."
I thought Tyler Bate was awesome here. I thought Pete Dunne was great.
Oh, this was good, man.
That last shot of Pete Dunne kind of snarling a little bit.
Yeah, he started to bare his teeth.
It was so good. Gosh, that was good. Pete Dunne's got like the face with so much character to it.
Do you like hard bass or garage? Sorry, I'm stuck on the Glass interviews. You like hard bass or garage? Garage. Oh, he said garage. We heard them. Yeah, no, it was awesome. I love it, and the fact that he said British strong style. We got to show him what British strong style was again. Oh man, looking forward to this. Triple H is chomping at the bit, man. It's great to see. Like he just didn't rush through all this. Mm-hmm. It was just like bit by bit by bit. Let's slowly get Pete Dunne away from this. He's like, hey, let's put Ridge Holland in this dog shit I hurt people angle and get Pete Dunne away from all that. And yeah, I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and hopefully by the time post Rumble we'll have Peter Dunne back.
Yeah, man.
The bruiserweight. We do this. All that kind of stuff.
I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, so it kicked off with what was supposed to be Grayson Waller versus Cameron Grimes, but the Bloodline, Solo and Jimmy, attacked Grimes on the ramp. To the moon! I can't get a break around here. Why am I still a Stonks guy?
It's so confusing.
It is confusing. They need to rebrand him. Why can't I be Ravens fan instead?
There we go.
Right, because all his social media is him being a Ravens.
Come out
fan.
with the WWE belts they make with the football team logos on them. Have
right, exactly. Yeah.
Jersey. Even put the helmet on. Why not?
Yeah. Baltimore Grimes. So anyway, Solo gives him a spike. Security comes out with the producers and Aldis. Bloodline lays out security. They go to the ring. Heyman's already in there. Waller and Theory like, we don't want none of this. They leave. Heyman drops a promo, says, I'd appreciate it if you direct your jeers elsewhere. We're not the bad guys here. The bad guy is that villainous James Bond wannabe right there, Aldis. Nick Aldis put your tribal chief in a fatal four-way match at the Rumble, where it's practically guaranteed. Oh, by the way, they played last week after the cameras stopped rolling in the gorilla position. Roman Reigns was informed by Paul Heyman this is going to be a fatal four-way, and he was like, fix it. So this is him fixing it. So he says, Aldis put your tribal chief in a fatal four-way match at the Rumble, where it's practically guaranteed that the undisputed Universal Championship will be lost by Roman Reigns. So that doesn't make Jimmy the bad guy or Solo the bad guy. It certainly doesn't make their tribal chief Roman Reigns the bad guy, nor the wise man the bad guy. The bad guy in this situation is Nick Aldis. So Aldis grabs the mic from Heyman. He says, first of all, disabuse yourself of the notion that this is a conversation between two equals, because it isn't. The fatal four-way match at the Rumble, that's a done deal. That's his thing. It's a done deal. It's like his way of saying it is official. He says this is the second match in as many weeks that has been ruined by the Bloodline. It's not going to happen again. And the Bloodline, you can't ruin the main event of tonight's show, because tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Bloodline are in the main event. He says, Lincoln, you braved the cold to join us tonight. So tonight, you get AJ Styles teaming with LA Knight, teaming with Randy Orton, and they'll take on all three members of the Bloodline, Solo, Jimmy, and Roman Reigns. And then Heyman leans in because Heyman tries to take the mic and Aldis doesn't let go. And Heyman says, you know as well as I know that Roman Reigns isn't here in Lincoln tonight. Crowd boos. They want their tribal chief. Aldis says, you're right. Roman has once again started something he doesn't seem to want to finish. So the Bloodline, you will have until the main event of tonight's show to find a third man. If you like, and if not, well, I guess it's a 3-on-2 handicap match. Good luck.
Aldis is great in this role.
Aldis is awesome, yeah.
He seems unbothered. He doesn't get flustered.
No.
Like Adam Pearce.
Yeah. Oh, he's a mess.
And he's what, 6'4", 270 pounds, pure muscle?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
People ain't going to mess with him.
Yeah, they're not going to mess with him. That being said, I would love to see Roman Reigns come back and be like, okay, dude, you're kind of a pain in my ass right now, so I'm going to have to check you, and then he just bloodies him, you know? It's like prison style.
And Nick Aldis is your new Undisputed Universal Champion.
Oh, wow. No, he gets stabbed before all that.
Stabbed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like you know, you walk up behind a guy and then move on.
I'm aware of the, yeah.
Yeah. I think they call it a shanking.
Yeah. I believe that's the correct term. Yeah.
Bloodline.
It'd be interesting. A new story development in the Bloodline saga.
Didn't they do that on MLW on Conan before?
Yeah.
I think he got stabbed before. You can't do that on network television. What are you guys talking
about?
Can't
do that. No, doubtful. So after a commercial break, we come back. We're in the Bloodline locker room, and Jimmy says to Solo, tell me you heard that out there. 2-on-3? Ooh, ain't nobody going to team up with us. He's talking about we got to find somebody, and Heyman steps in and tells Jimmy not to worry, that there's a locker room full of people within kissing my tuchus forever trying to get into the Bloodline. Relax. I'll go take care of this. I will find you somebody. Don't worry. And he leaves, and Jimmy goes, I'm worried. Solo, are you worried? Solo just says, I'm never worried.
Whenever Solo has to say something, they really need to jack up the gain on the mic suddenly, because it's sort of like his whisper talking isn't as menacing when you can barely hear it.
I know. So Gorman brings up a good point. John Cena got shanked.
That's right, yeah. It was at a nightclub, didn't they? He says we didn't see it. I thought it was. Wasn't there like security footage of it?
I don't remember
like
that.
Kayfabe security. Did I just make that up in my head?
About it, but I don't remember security footage.
Oh man, somebody in the comments let us know if I just made that up. Like I see it in my head, but I probably just made that up. Wow. Anyways, after that we had Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, commonly known here at Going in Raw as the Humberto's Garza, and taking on Joaquin Wilder and Cruz del Toro. So it was Santos Escobar's original group versus his new group. And it's sort of, going to figure out which group is better for Santos Escobar. Of course, Carlito attacked Santos Escobar during this match, and that led to the Humberto's Garza getting the sneaky, cheaty win here against Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro.
I did like, because Santos was on commentary, and so Carlito's music hits. Mm-hmm. And Santos smiles and says, oh, it's going to take him 10 minutes to walk down here.
Yeah. Again, talking about Triple H taking his damn time for everything, it makes it better when you take the long route to get there. Santos just looks like a badass now, but if they just trotted him out there cold as a badass, but no, we had all those, months of him being just sort of a nice guy lieutenant to Rey Mysterio until he got fed up with it. Now he's a fucking badass.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Then we're back in Nick Aldis's office. Carmelo Hayes is there.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And Aldis says, you impressed a lot of people in the U.S. title tournament, especially me. And Carmelo says, blue does look good on me since I'm here. I got to shoot my shot. The Royal Rumble. Before we continue that thought, though, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory barge in, tells Aldis we need to talk. Mm-hmm. They're upset about what happened earlier. And Theory asks him, what kind of show are you running here, Aldis? And Aldis says, we're in the middle of something right now. And then Waller says to Mello, what are you doing here? Need more of that Grayson Waller rub, huh? Mello says, what are you doing here? I beat you so many times. Get out of here with all that. And then Theory goes, fluke, like he's sneezing. He says, you're not on his level. And Mello says, you're right, I'm not. I'm on a level above. Let's be real. I'm getting real sick of you. Why don't we run it back tonight? And Waller's like, nah, I already had my match tonight. I got my win. I'm good. Theory will take you on. And Aldis goes, that's a done deal. And then Mello says, A-Town down bad tonight, I say.
Whoa. That was a good twist on that. Patrick Cheeseman here says, Steve remembers Cruz this time. No, it's in the notes. Larson made it big and bold. So I didn't actually remember. And if it wasn't written down, I would have said it was the Humberto's Garza versus Joaquin Wilde. Or I would have said The Humbertos Garza versus Cruz and Del Toro. That's what I would have said. So after that little bit with Carmelo, the LWO are backstage. Heyman approaches, and he's like, Carlito. He was like, he pitches Carlito on joining the Bloodline, and then he offers him an apple. He says, Carlito helping the Bloodline? That would be cool. And Carlito says, there's only one person I want to fight against. That's Santos Escobar. But then he says, oh, thank you for the apple. So he takes the apple there. So, yeah. Yep. After that, we had a recap of the Kevin Owens-Logan Paul thing, and then we had a Logan Paul lawsuit angle promo where he says, sorry, I couldn't be at SmackDown this week. He says, first, I never come to Nebraska. Second, I was busy on the phone with my lawyers because this little black eye that you gave me, it's not just a black eye, it's evidence. Turns out that cast on your hand could be a liability. A liability not just for me at our match, because if you think you're going to stroll into the Rumble with that cast on your hand, with that weapon on your hand, I promise I'm not just going to beat you in a wrestling match. I'm going to beat you in a court of law. I'm going to run your pockets so deep you forget you're wearing pants. So consider this. Are you ready to face me in a fair fight, you little cheater? Cheater, pumpkin eater? Because if you roll up to the Rumble with that cast on, if you consider our match, your chance at glory canceled. See you soon, Kevin Owens. Good promo there from Logan Paul.
Solid promo.
Solid.
He's very comfortable in front of the camera.
He is. I mean, that dude's been on camera for like fucking 10 years now. So.
Yeah. Then we got the Tyler Butch coffee house segment.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler gets some chai tea.
Mm-hmm.
Butch gets coffee. So Butch says, Tyler Bates says, hey, thanks for calling me. And Butch kind of downplays, like, hey, I just need a tag partner, no big deal. And Bates says, nah, we had some fun beating up Pretty Deadly. And Butch tells him to shut up or don't make me regret calling you in the first place. So Tyler then really starts making his pitch. Says, maybe we should do some breathing work and calm you down. You know, rediscover who you are. And Butch tells him, hey, we're both on SmackDown. Hey. You focus on your path. I'm going to focus on mine. And then Bate says, this is your chance. You finally get a shot to show what British strong style is all about. You want to make a name for yourself? Remember who told you that in Blackpool. This is William Regal. You need to look inward and ask yourself, who was that guy? You have to ask yourself, what is the name going to be? Well, so the camera just holds on a shot of Bush. He does a little snarl. Gosh, he's got such a great face.
Yeah. He stifled. It looked like he was stifling a sneeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should choose like a third name for himself. It's not Butch. It's not Pete Dunne. Something else.
His real name's what? Peter England?
Oh, is that what it is? Really?
I think so, yeah.
That sounds like a Vince wrestling name.
I know it does. I think
you're from England? You're Peter England. Is that his actual name?
I believe
it's like
so.
John America?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see here. Peter Thomas England. What the heck? That's crazy. My name's going to be, I love being here in America. I'm going to be John America.
Be Pete America.
Be Pete America.
I may have been born Pete England, but I love America.
This is my new home. I'm Pete America.
Pete America.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
After that, we had a fantastic match between Bianca and Bayley. We talked about at the beginning of the SmackDown recap how Bayley was trying several times to get Bianca out of the ring and distract the refs of Damage Control. Could attack Bianca, and they would not do it.
He just stood there like assholes. Oh, this was infuriating.
Just stood there.
Do something, Hilton. Jeez.
So at the finish, Bianca's looking for a KOD. Bayley escapes that and sends Bianca to the corner. Bayley hits the top rope elbow, gets her a 2 count. So then Bayley rolls up Bianca with her feet on the ropes. The ref spots it and calls off the count. So that's when Bayley sends Bianca to the floor right in front of Damage Control. Is like, my knee. Ref, come check my knee. So while the ref is checking on her knee, Damage Control just stands there. And Bayley's looking around and be like, come on, do something. Come on, do something. But they do nothing. So then Bayley rolls out to the floor, hammers Bianca with some punches, puts her back in the ring, and just kind of awkwardly stares by Damage Control. Just like, what was that? What are you doing?
The hell?
He gets back in the ring. She gets rolled up. She kicks out. Bianca hits her with a spear. Then a KOD to get the win.
That KOD sell was awesome, too. Like, that's how you sell a KOD. Like, it just completely knocks you out. You fall like a sack of potatoes. Anyways, after that, Kevin Owens responded to Logan Paul's promo He says, hey, buddy, I heard everything you had to say. Unfortunately, I don't like really hearing you talk at all, but I see what you're doing. I get it. You want to call this a liability, and he's looking at his cast, and an unfair advantage for me. This cast, you can do that, but we both know that's not what it is. If it's an advantage for anyone, it's you, because I have a broken hand. But unfortunately for you, it's not going to keep me from being at the Royal Rumble. But again, after seeing your face and that bruise, that black eye and everything, I understand what you're trying to do. So how about this? I think we need to talk about all this, the lawsuit, whatever you're threatening. Let's talk about it face-to-face next week on SmackDown, where you have to have the biggest honor in your miserable career by being a guest on the Kevin Owens Show. What do you say? Hope to see you there.
Then we're backstage with Damage Control. EO is talking Damage Control, but no Bayley. So EO is talking to the others about Bayley, and then Bayley walks in and says, what was that? So Dakota pulls her aside. So we have Dakota and Bayley in the foreground, the rest of Damage Control in the background. And Dakota says, look, the ref was looking right at us. What do you want us to do? And Bayley says, a little help would be nice. And Dakota says, I know, but we didn't want to cause a DQ. Look, we thought you'd be good to face Bianca on your own, okay? And this plan you have for Damage Control to have all the gold, that includes you winning the Rumble on your own. Bayley says, yeah, but you know that we're stronger together. And Dakota responds, I know. You know what? Forget about it. It's done. Let's look ahead. Hey, you still got a Rumble to win. It's all you. So then Dakota steps away and joins the rest of Damage Control. They leave. And Bayley's just kind of stand there. Not happy.
Yeah, dude. No, I wasn't happy watching this. I'm like, man, you got to burn it down, Bayley. Just burn it all down. Come up with a new name for a new faction.
New faction.
Yeah.
New name. Damage Central.
Damage Central. Yeah, Damage Central. There you go. Exactly. We've been pushing that.
We keep the same logo.
After that, we had bong, 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 bong. Endless timpani drums. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits come out. All business casual. They're ready to throw. They look mad. And I love this. You know, man, Montez Ford, I feel like sometimes he goofs it up a little too much. He looked like a badass dude.
Oh, Dawkins was ready to throw.
I know. It was kind of awesome.
I love that he was, while Bobby was doing his promo, Dawkins was constantly looking around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to do that.
So the AOP doesn't jump from behind again. I thought that was great.
Get one of them. What are those? What's that? The power bomb they do called where they hit the guys first?
Oh, the Super Collider?
Yeah, Super Collider. Yeah, it's awkward when they do it, but whatever. Anyways, so Lashley gets a mic. Very understated. Is not doing a let me tell you something or nothing. He says, AOP and Karrion Kross last week, you all tried to take us out. You thought jumping us from behind was going to get you the upper hand. No. That just got you into a fight. You can't win. When we have an issue with somebody, we confront them face to face and we settle things. We don't take a cowardly approach. We don't go lurking in the darkness or hiding in the shadows. We walk down to this ring. We roll up our sleeves. We clench our fists. We get ready to fight. So, Karrion, if you and your boys want to settle this, if you have an issue with us, you come down here and settle this right here, right now. And lights go down. Little Paul Ellering comes out to the stage with his one glove. He points to the Tron. And this is great, awesome edited promo, just like the last couple of weeks. And Kross says, the last couple of years, my promise has been to show the world how corrupt they really are. Scarlett says, by breaking them on the inside. But now we're ready to break them on the by breaking them on the inside. But now we're ready to break them on the outside. Kross says, Bobby, what a lucky guy. Him and his embarrassing Street Profits are now at the top of the list to deconstruct. And who better to usher the dawn of a new era than two of the most dangerous men this world has ever known, the authors of pain, Akam, Razor. And least we not forget the most sadistic and inhumane person this world has ever had the displeasure of knowing, Paul Ellering. We are the Final Testament. And then it has like cheesy Final Testament graphics up there. Yeah. And, some punk font,
Yeah. They got a new theme, too, that kind of played after the promo while the Street Profits and Lashley were like, well.
Yeah, right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And they leave the ring.
Yeah.
Then we got Paul Heyman backstage. So he's standing there leaning against a road case, face palming more or less. He's frustrated. He's running out of options. So Pretty Deadly walk up, and they're like, hey, we're the best tag team here. We can help you. Both of us. And Heyman says, the two of you realize that it's one person teaming with Jimmy and Solo against LA Knight. With every name Heyman reads off, Pretty Deadly's like,
yeah.
AJ Styles. Ooh,
even worse.
Randy Orton. Oh.
That's the order of the stack right there, Larson.
Probably. We need one. And Pretty Deadly are like, now that we think about it, we got this to do. We got to be here. We got to do this. So, sorry. And then they leave.
Yeah. They hightail it out of there. Then we had Carmelo Hayes versus Austin Theory. This was shaping up to be a pretty fun match.
Hold on. There was a Carmelo video package. Then Heyman makes his pitch to Lashley before that match.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I had Heyman here, and then I moved on. So yeah, Heyman comes up to Bobby Lashley. He says, Lashley, you can work out your aggression against the Final Testament by teaming with the Bloodline. Bobby says, the only time I want to be standing in the ring with the Bloodline is when I'm standing across from Roman Reigns. And you hear the crowd pop over that one, man. They need to do that before Roman loses that title. I don't know if they're going to, but it'd be cool if they did.
That'd be awesome if they did.
We need to do like a power rank of like biggest pops for people to take the title off Roman. Bobby'd be up there.
He would.
He'd be up there.
People love Bobby Lashley.
They do love Bobby Lashley.
Then we got Carmelo versus Austin Theory. Mentioned this match ended early. I needed Spanish fly spot. Austin Theory normally does. He doesn't really do it all that often, but it's always really cool when he pulls it off.
Yeah.
This one though just kind of under rotated a little bit. I wonder if the timing was off a skosh.
Yeah, that could
be. It was a bad tumble for both of them.
Yeah. Just a quick aside really here. It sounds like we're having a couple little internet issues because you're kind of glitchy on the YouTube side of things. So hopefully that'll correct itself. But I think they got the idea here. Yeah, a little of a miscommunication, mistiming on that move. Luckily, Austin Theory didn't get banged up a bit more than he did because this is pretty ugly and it looks like it could have been uglier. But again, WWE the ref stopping the match as soon as something looked awry, and they just called it off. After that, we had the Bloodline backstage. Jimmy says, I already told you. I had no doubts the OG was going to take care of us tonight. He said, who is it, OG? Because Heyman's back there. And Heyman says, it's Jimmy Uso with my boy Solo. And you know what? I've interviewed every member of this locker room this evening, and there's not one man here that's worthy to stand in the ring on the side of the Bloodline. Auditions are over. No more tryouts. No more people trying to get in the Bloodline. I have full faith in my Uso and in my Solo. I'm not worried. And Jimmy says, oh, gee, I'm worried. And Solo steps up to Jimmy and says, I'm not. And Jimmy says, if Solo's not worried, then I'm not worried. No yeet. He's turned from yeet into a sign of confidence to no yeet, like no problem.
Yeah.
I love it.
Pretty great. Then we had our main event, AJ and LA Knight, after Randy Orton gets taken out of the match by a Samoan Spike early on against the Bloodline. And so AJ is looking for a hot AJ is looking for a hot tag. Solo yanks Knight off the apron. LA Knight throws him the ring steps. And then he gets back on the apron, and AJ's looking for the hot tag a little bit later. And is like, no, I'm not going to tag you in. You tried to mess with me earlier by not being on the apron. LA Knight's like, I was taking care of Solo, man.
Yep.
Anyways, eventually Randy Orton comes back down. He gets the hot tag, and within 2 minutes, the match is over. He hits Jimmy with an RKO to get the win.
Yeah. That's all it took. So afterwards, Solo attacks Randy from behind, sets up for a spike. AJ hits him with a phenomenal forearm. Knight follows up with a billionaire finger trap. AJ and Knight go back to arguing. Randy hits Solo with an RKO. They all make their way to the floor. Randy hits Jimmy with the ring steps, hits Solo with a Shield-style triple team powerbomb through the announce table. Roman Reigns is not going to be happy about this, man.
Nope. Again, if the three of them work together, they got a chance.
Yeah.
If they get each other's way, no chance.
Well, that's the problem. They have a chance, yeah, but somebody's got to get the win, and that's gonna be Roman Reigns because they're not going to be able to step aside.
Nope. Then we had a Collision 2 on Saturday that we watched during our 12-hour stream. I went back and listened and wrote down what they said during the promos.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
The big sort of thing that they're dealing with right now is, and I don't know if there's been any reporting on what the plans are for Jericho now. Like, obviously, there was the social media stuff, the allegations from a couple weeks ago. Regardless where you stand on that, it seems like they're trying to dance around the crowd reaction, which has been negative for Jericho because of that. This week, during a promo on Collision, they piped in some really obvious, crowd
cheers.
noise.
It was cheers.
It was cheers. Yeah, it wasn't like but the cheers weren't like responding to anything they were saying. They were just sort of
ambient.
It was just
cheers,
a loop, ambient.
Yeah.
During the actual match on Battle of the Belts, they sort of started the action outside. Eventually, they came back into the arena, and I wonder if that approach was meant to sort of, when you have like a crowd ready to react in a certain way, if you give them a cue to react, they will. That cue these days is Judas.
Yes.
Having them meander back into the arena in a gradual fashion where the crowd gradually notices that they're there seemed to have successfully abated the boos, the big
at least
reaction.
on a like a coordinated. I say coordinated because you hear Judas, and the boos are going to ensue
en masse, right?
Yeah. But here's a situation where it's like, oh, they're there, boo, and you mitigate potentially the volume of the boos by doing it that way. Yes.
The sort of very violent nature of the finish of that match at Battle of the Belts, where Bill Big put Jericho off a platform through a table with a power bomb, and then Sammy Guevara taking a jump. I just don't think you need to be doing that. I really don't. I think that the risk reward factor there is just too great in the risk element for him to take it. He took it. I guess he's fine. But you would think that this is the kind of spot that would maybe write him off for a bit, and then I guess we'll just go from there. Is that sort of your read on that too?
I would imagine, because that's the proper approach right now. Is you get Jericho off TV, you address everything in some manner, and go from there, I suppose.
I kind of feel like you're right about everything except for address it.
They probably won't address it. No, they're
not
just
going to do that.
It just kind of dies down and then bring him back.
Yeah, I think
Tony
so.
Khan had an opportunity to address it at the last media scrum and didn't.
Yeah, he just sort of kept that ridiculous hat and glasses on.
Yeah.
That's all he did. I mean, I get it. I understand why they're kind of in a spot in terms of addressing it. Like, it's out there, but like, what can you really address? Because it did take place in the form of like just Twitter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you even supposed to respond to that?
Yeah.
Tough
I
situation
understand that.
to be in,
I understand.
So we'll see how that plays out over the coming weeks, and maybe months even. I'm looking at Collision here. Let's see here. We had Cope versus Lee Moriarty.
Cope Open challenge.
The Copeland challenge. Just trying to see if like anything actually happened on Collision.
Not a lot. No. Not really.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. This is
I mean, you had the Ring of Honor six-man titles defended on Collision.
Yeah. Yeah,
no, there wasn't.
Goodness.
I mean, it seemed like, I understand they had Battle of the Belts they probably were obligated to do, but it seemed like a lot of stuff that happened on Battle of the Belts probably should have happened on Collision.
Like, the biggest AEW story to happen wasn't even on an AEW show this week, and that was Jack Perry going to New Japan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, it's Collision. It's like a 2-hour main roster show, and they didn't really. It sort of turned into like a sub Rampage thing. Like, I don't know. Jeff Hardy should not be complaining about not being on Collision.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, at this point, it's like, yeah, Dynamite's the Wednesday. That's the show. That's where they do stuff.
Show. That's when you want to be on, yeah.
And then after that, I think it's kind of Rampage, because like things actually seem to happen on Rampage, and then like you have Collision, and it's like you have good matches, but they're all foregone conclusion matches. I mean, the Cope Open against Lee Moriarty. I love Lee Moriarty. I know you do too.
Great.
And it was a great spot for him to be in. You know who's going to win that match, and it's not even close.
You know, here's the issue I have with that match. Adam Copeland should have won by.
Yeah. Adam Copeland should not win by submission. Yeah, you're right.
He should not against Lee Moriarty against. Yeah, Lee Moriarty, who is, I know he said this, but it's true, one of the best young technical wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, right.
He should not be out wrestled by Adam Copeland.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Should be.
I agree with that.
Lee Moriarty should be tapping out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that on social media. Lee Moriarty, saw the positive in it. He got a match with Edge, and he had him in his submission. And that's a great spot for a young wrestler to be in. But in terms of like overall telling stories, not a lot going on here.
No, like Hangman and JD Drake had a really fun match.
Cool match,
long but it was good. It was good. It was a good match.
Yeah.
It just kind of it didn't really it furthered a feud without really advancing it, if that makes sense. It's like, oh, now they're going to have an 8-man tag match probably. So it's going to be FTR, Garcia, and Daddy Magic against House of Black and mystery partner.
Ideally, you eventually end on like a 10 versus 10 thing. Where
that's what I'm saying.
Each side just keeps on growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, because then you could have Parker join. So it's 5-on-5. You can have Hager join FTR and friends.
Yeah.
So 6-on-6.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could find 4 more people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But otherwise, not a lot happened. So we could probably run through this Collision recap pretty quick. Show opened with Copeland coming out and saying, hey, Cope open time. Who's going to step up? And then we get Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. And I love Shane Taylor's promo here. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
He says, if you want to fight, homie, all you had to do was ask. Let me introduce you to the baddest fighting team on the planet, Shane Taylor Promotions. We ain't ducking nobody. We ain't singing for these chumps. We ain't dancing for these chumps. We damn sure ain't rapping so they feel comfortable. But what we will do is take everything the sport has to offer, including our respect, that we will take tonight at your expense. If you need some convincing, let me show you why they call him Tiger Style. So that he throws to a video package, highlighting Lee Moriarty. So Lee takes the mic and says, Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty is a prize fighter, Shane Taylor Promotions. Lee Moriarty is one of the best young technical wrestlers in the world. I'm going to prove it by making you tap out in my ring. And then Copeland's like, oh, what was that? Tiger Style? Everybody will back up that check you're writing, because if you can't cash it, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. And so you have Lee Moriarty, who is one of the best young technical wrestlers in the world, get tapped out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, no.
Should put him in the. Did you ever put him in the deal in this match?
Well, it was the deal without the hunk of chair.
It's not the deal then.
It's not the deal, I know.
Yeah.
But it's a crossface, yeah. He can put him in the crossface and Lee taps.
Gotcha. After that, we had an FTR and Daniel Garcia interview. Lexi asked if they can handle being on the same page, and Cash says, after last
Cash
week...
should have said, 2/3 of us are a tag team, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. He says, we won last week, and that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't, because House of Black couldn't leave it like that. They had to leave us all laying. So tonight is about revenge, and we're going to get our revenge back in blood. Dex, I don't know if we can coexist. I don't know if we can get along. But what I do know is that we have like mindsets, and we love this. We love wrestling. Deep down in our bones and our guts, we love this. It ain't about love tonight. It's about feeding my family. It's about a fight. So tonight, FTR and Daniel Garcia might have to dance all over House of Black. We're going to dance. We're going to dance now. And the Garcias, we might have to, because Saturday night's all right for a fight. That's what you got to say here, right? I agree, because I think Collision's the place I want to be if I want to grow. If I want to be a main eventer, I got to restore the feeling. House of Black, you put your hands on the people that I love and myself for too long, and tonight you finally get what's coming to you. Say hi to your mother for me.
Oh, I'll go back to, I meant to mention this, but Shane Taylor. I hope Shane Taylor gets more TV time, because he's really good on the mic.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome. Awesome. All like the promo stuff that great. The promo on Saturday was great.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that Lee Moriarty had to tap out to Cope. But, if they feature, I don't watch Ring of Honor. I hope Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty are featured on Ring of Honor a lot and get a lot of wins.
I think they are.
I hope so. But the more Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty we get in AEW television, I think the better, because they're fantastic.
Yeah, man. I agree with that.
Where are we? Oh, then we had the Sammy Jericho interview. Ugh. Cheers.
They had that 2K23 crowd sound piped in there.
Yeah, no, and it was really generic stuff. So Lexi mentions to Sammy that he's the only man to ever win a championship on Battle of the Belts, and he goes, "Yep, that's right. History repeats itself tonight. Hey, Starks, Bill, you've been great champions. All great things come to an end. That happens tonight." So Jericho then says the same thing. You've been great champions. You surpassed everybody's expectations, but we're going to take it to the streets, and we're going to fulfill our destiny, a destiny that started when AEW did. We're on a seek and destroy mission. We're going to walk out of here new tag champs.
So I'm looking at Ring of Honor, and yeah, they're on a pretty decent run. January 6th, we had Shane Taylor Promotions, Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor get a win over the Infantry, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean.
Yeah,
and then a couple weeks before that, Shane Taylor Promotions defeated the Boys and the Infantry in like a triple threat tag. And then before his loss to Keith Lee at Final Battle, Shane Taylor beat Channing Decker.
All right.
So
it's a win.
Yeah. They've got a decent record there in the Ring of Honor. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I like Shane Taylor a lot. So hopefully, hopefully they utilize his talents to the most they can. I hope so.
Mm-hmm. After that, we had Lance Archer and the Righteous.
Bow, bow.
Bow, bow. Got my head stuck in another man's asshole. We lost to one guy. And here, we lost to Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles.
Yep, they lost. Khan hits Vincent with a pedigree to get the win. And then Prince Nana dropped a promo afterwards saying that Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold, you want to shot these 6-man titles? Well, how about on Wednesday on Dynamite? Issued a challenge.
Yeah,
called them bums.
Oh, that's a great burn. What a bum. I'd be kind of bummed out if you said, hey, so somebody's like, hey, so what do you really think about Steve? He's a bum.
Oh, he's a bum on the basketball court.
That, that would cut to me. That would cut pretty deep, man. Like, he's a bum. What do you think about him on the basketball court? He's a bum. What do you think about him as a human being? A bum. Oh, man.
Yeah, that would cut you to the core, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Even Hilton.
I don't know if say that.
Can't call Hilton a bum.
Well,
pretty. It's pretty. Oh wow. What do you think about that, Hilton? What do you think of that? That's pretty rude, isn't it? Yeah, he's over here. He said it's rude.
No, he's not over there.
He is.
In fact, that corner, there's not much of anything over there.
You don't think so? Wow, not much of anything. That's what you think of Hilton? Jeez. After that, we had a Preston Vance interview. He's no bum. Lexi asked him about facing Orange Cassidy for the international title tonight. The Roddy and the Kingdom step in. Roddy says, Preston, I just wanted to wish you good luck, dude. And Vance says, this is my time. That has nothing to do with you. This match has nothing to do with you, so why are you wishing me luck? I tell you what, how about this? When I beat Orange's ass tonight and become new champ, you'll have all the time you want, because next week I'll kick your ass too. And then Vance leaves, and Roddy says, oh, I like that.
Yeah. Then we had Dustin Rhodes taking on Willie Mack.
Illy Mack. Can't get that W.
Yeah. It's a bummer. So Dustin gets the win here. I mean, it is impressive whenever Dustin, at 50 years of age, hits a destroyer. I mean, hats off to Dustin for continually changing up his wrestling, staying with the times. Can appreciate that at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the end, hits a Crossroads and a Reckoning to get the win. And afterwards, Dustin helps up Willie and raises his hand, encourages, says, "Hey, crowd, cheer for Willie Mack. He's great," because Willie Mack is great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. What's her faces? AAA. They really appreciate Willie Mack.
I know.
We had a super chat here from Mickey G. Says, make a case that Roman's title reign is beneficial to the other talent.
It benefited Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Benefited Jey Uso. He's a main eventer now.
Main event
Jey Uso. Yeah. LA Knight looked pretty cool coming out of that. He's still in the mix. He's in that fatal four-way coming up.
At the time when he was calling Drew the B champion, didn't do much for him, but I think having the way Drew lost at Clash of the Castle being kind of the catalyst for his eventual heel turn, I think has worked out really well.
Yeah, Drew's in a better spot as a character. Drew's in a better spot as a character now, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, I'm not going to claim that, it's always been perfect. I don't think it benefited specifically, when Finn Balor fell off the turnbuckle. I don't think it benefited him there. But from Sammy and on, I think it's benefited the entire company. So make a case that it hasn't benefited the company. How about that? So
benefited everybody.
After that, we had Bullet Club Gold Bang Bang Gang promo, Larson. Bang. Jay's like, wow, Mogul Embassy, very impressive victory. You guys know the Mogul Embassy, right? And then Colton and Austin mock Cage and Nana, and Jay says, that's not the gates of agony, but close enough. Look, Mogul Embassy, you've been getting mighty confident, mighty comfortable with the Collision Cowboys around to keep you guys in check. And now, if you got the Bang Bang Gang on your lips, well, boys, if you want to go for a ride, then saddle up. Just know you're going to be going home sad, lonely. But us, we're going to be going home with those Ring of Honor 6-man championships. They'll be coming home with the Bang Bang Gang. I mean, if they lose that, that's going to be a problem for the Bang Bang Gang. Swerve will probably
really
get
is
involved,
though. Then we had a Dustin interview. Renee's asking Dustin, how are you feeling after your match? And he says, I feel great. Well, then,
hey,
Christian
do you think that, hey, is there any, sorry, I don't interrupt, but I just had this thought.
That's fine. All right.
You got the Bang Bang Gang. What if they win those trios titles? The Acclaimed have the trios titles. What if they do like a unification deal?
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Could do that. People whine about there's too many titles in AEW, and I agree with that.
There are too many titles.
Let's unify some of these.
There are way too many titles. So then Christian walks in, interrupts Dustin's interview, says, that was a great victory for sure, Dustin. I couldn't help but notice this past Wednesday that on Dynamite, the company you were keeping. I just thought I'd take the opportunity to come and let you know, and you could pass this around the locker room if you'd like. If you're a friend of Adam Copeland's, then you're an enemy of mine. And then Dustin tells him, okay, first of all, you need to take that depth out of your mouth when you talk to me. 35-year veteran, natural, Dusty Rhodes. You got that? Sorry, Dustin Rhodes. You got that, Jack? He says, you see that title you got right now? Since AEW's inception, I've been tasting that title and not got it. I really want it. Really, really bad. If you have the balls, you will put that up next Wednesday, and I'll show you how tough I am. And Christian says, that sounds like a beautiful dream you've concocted, Dustin. It'd be even more of a dream if your father was alive to see that dream.
Steps
up to Christian. And Luchasaurus growls at Dustin. And Christian says, everybody knows your father was a legend in this business. I can't say I've ever heard anyone use that word to describe you. Dustin goes, yeah? Well, it's coming, son. A storm's coming for you now. You better get your balls ready. Talk is cheap. I'm going to tap dance all over your ass.
Yeah. After that, we had Hangman Page versus J.D. Drake, as you mentioned. Good match here. Page gets the buckshot lariat for the win. Then we had Deonna Purrazzo versus Red Velvet. Also a good match. Velvet tap to
really
double armbar.
Venus de Milo. I forgot that's what Deonna calls it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. The Venus de Milo.
The double arm bar. Because the statue is missing the arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
right.
She takes the arms.
Takes the arms away. It's very clever. I like it. Then we had...
it was a good match. Red Velvet's really good.
Yeah, she is really good. Then we had, in advance of his world title match with Samoa Joe this coming Wednesday, Hook versus KM. KM been showing up around AEW or Jack something. I don't know. Hook got the win here with the
KM
Red
on
Room.
his trunk, so it was KM, right?
That was one of the funnier moments during the live stream. Somebody was like, no, I think that's not KM. I think his name is Jack something. And then I think Rob was like, what does it say on his tights? It's like, it says KM.
It says KM.
Oh, man. Then we had our main event, House of Black versus Daniel Garcia and FTR. I'm sad that FTR didn't come up with a fancy name. Like what? CMFTR, they have like that name, but they don't come up with something like a Daniel Garcia FTR situation.
FT Garcia.
There you go. There you go. FT Garcia. FT Gar.
Yeah, there you go.
It's good. They didn't do that, though. No special shirts.
House of Black got the win here. Yeah, no. I mean, how they plan to coexist when they can't even get a team name for their trio here. Come on.
I know, exactly.
First step to getting along, I think, is to have a name for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
House of Black, though, gets the win here. Buddy gets the pin on Dax.
Buddy Murphy got the win here. He got the pin, yeah.
I know, and I think Dax is like, hey, Garcia Cash, you want a light night at the office? Don't worry, I'll get beat up for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened.
I'll get sat on by Brody King.
Getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
So Buddy gets the win after. So Brody distracts the refs. So Malachi gets in, hits Dax with the black mass, and then Buddy follows with a stomp to get the win. So then Daddy Magic's on commentary, as he usually is for Garcia matches. Brody goes and brings Daddy Magic into the ring. Malachi hits him with the Black Mass. Cash and Garcia get in with chairs, and they start beating up the House of Black with chairs. They eventually clear the ring of Malachi and Buddy, and then hit Brody with a triple team shatter machine.
Yeah,
and
man.
That's how our collision went off the air.
You see Malachi walking up the ramp like, okay, because can now I have a singles match.
I know. What does that man got to do to get a singles match in AEW?
Let's get that guy a singles match, man. Come on now. My goodness gracious. All right. You ready to answer some? Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I have a feeling, I think there's like a delay on our stupid Zoom. What is up with Zoom these days?
It seems like it.
Because we keep on talking over each other, and it's infuriating.
Like
we tell people, we're like, oh, no, remote podcast is great. We don't need to be together, but then Zoom is fucking on us.
Well, 90%, like 5% of the time, it's fine.
Yeah, I know.
Seemed like today my internet's a little wonky or something. I don't know what the deal is. Anyways.
All right. First up, John, in Alistair voice.
John
says, don't know how well you know the Willemses, but would you guys do an episode or a premium live event watch along with James and or Elise? And do you guys know Bruce Green, Matt Peake, and Lawrence? So we know them all. They're all wonderful people. Yeah. But I'm not gonna like if they asked us, I'd consider doing a collaboration with them. But I think they're very busy people, and I don't.
Yes.
You know, we don't generally reach out to people to do watch-alongs.
Yeah, we don't. We're not very good at that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we've known James and Bruce and Lawrence for years, and Matt for that matter too, and yeah, they're all awesome.
Yep.
Sicilian Crest here says, I've missed the last month of wrestling due to a hectic schedule. What's the one thing I've missed that I need to know over the last month? What's the one thing more than anything else? Last month, so that'll take you to mid-December. So Sicilian Crest knows that CM Punk has returned to WWE because that was the end of November.
That happened already.
Since then, what's the most essential story beat in all of wrestling, Steve?
Oh, The Rock challenging Roman Reigns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's it. That happened at day one.
It did.
Justin Sider says, really enjoyed the TNA watch along with the Friendos on Saturday. What do you think of Dana Brooke's new name, Ash by Elegance? We didn't mention that earlier. Dana Brooke is in TNA now. Ash by Elegance. It's I think the name's pretty cool.
It's unique. It sounds like a perfume name.
It does. That dude she came to ringside with looked very familiar.
I didn't know who he was.
I don't know who he was.
Yeah. Jesse Helsia says, my friend is getting into pro wrestling and I've been trying to show him the highs and lows. Can you all give me one high and one low to show him? One low would be Bobby Lashley's sisters.
Yeah.
Or anything involving Vince Russo.
Bayley, this is your life.
Yeah, yeah. One high would
End
be...
End of an era match.
Yeah, there you go. I'll go with one high would be, I don't know, show him Steve Austin versus the main event of WrestleMania 14 when you get to see a passing of the torch kind of moment, you know? A new era.
Doc Hensler says, Final Testament is an amazing name. Please rank your top 3 favorite faction names. Just the names.
All time?
All time.
Wolfpack NWO.
Yeah, it's really good.
Just sounds cool.
It's a good name.
Like if somebody was like, oh man, the Illuminati are up to no good. It's like, really? Which element of the Illuminati? Wolfpack NWO. Whoa,
don't mess with them.
Now I'm freaked out.
Yeah, I know.
Horseman's a great name too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good name. Right to censor.
It's a good name.
It is.
Just in a vacuum, that's a good name.
It's a good name. Cameron Bordalazzo asks, is SmackDown the best weekly wrestling show right now? There seems to be no filler on that show.
For my money, I'm still a Raw guy. I feel like they've been pretty good at running threads through Raw.
I'll say this, and this is kind of a no-brainer here. When Roman is on SmackDown on a regular basis, I'm not saying every week, but when he's not gone for months at a time,
yeah,
SmackDown is much more enjoyable because we say all the time, Roman, even when he's not there, his presence is felt, but doubly so when he is there. And it feels like things actually advance at the top of the card when he is there. So, I mean, like, if this was a year ago, no question SmackDown was the best weekly show in all of wrestling. When it was the Sammy, Roman, Bloodline stuff, that was the best stuff that WWE was doing.
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
So without a doubt, at that time, I'd say SmackDown. Right now, yeah, probably Raw, because there's more interesting characters across the card. Right now, I feel like on Raw.
Everybody's there. Like, you're right about Roman. When Roman is there, then it feels like all hands are on deck. On Raw, there's much more parity for the world title scene, so that makes it more interesting. When's Priest going to cash in? Like, who's going to be? Is Drew McIntyre going to beat Seth Rollins? Like, there has been the idea that other people can beat Seth Rollins, whereas with Roman Reigns, it's like, okay, I think we're just going to have to wait till WrestleMania or maybe even SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Chad Knows More says, if Naomi goes back to WWE, who is her first feud with? He says he'd like to see her finish the story with Sonya Deville, which was a terrific story. I don't know if anybody's going to remember that stuff, though.
Yeah.
Like, I barely remember it, but I remember like, oh, yeah, that was cool back then.
Yeah,
Sonya was an asshole to her. I remember that.
Yeah.
I think she gets into it with Damage Control. Same with she helps Bayley.
She'll end up on SmackDown, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dog authority figure. If you had to pick one member of the WWE roster to join the Bloodline, who would it be?
One who?
One member of the WWE roster to join the Bloodline. Who would it be?
Oh, somebody else joins the Bloodline. Bobby Lashley took up Paul Heyman on his request to join the Bloodline, and then he just sticks around. And, like, he keeps on, like, making little insinuations. And nobody noticed except for Roman Reigns. Yeah, and Roman's like, God, why is he here? He's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, Roman's sitting in the locker room or in the suite, and Jimmy's there, and he's, scolding Jimmy about using no yeet now. And then he hears bum, bum, bum. And Roman freaks out every time. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it's just Bobby coming out of the bathroom.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to say R-Truth. He finally gets the message that Judgment Day doesn't want him in their clubhouse, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go to the Bloodline, then enjoy the Bloodline."
I like it. That's a good one too. That's a good one. All right, that's all.
Ty
the
Moore
questions
here asks. I got one more question. Ty Moore asks, "What should main event this year's Royal Rumble event? What should main event the card?"
Oh,
not what.
Yeah, right. What should?
Will, because it's going to be Roman. It's going to be that match. But what should?
Probably Cult of Personality playing and CM Punk pointing at the WrestleMania sign.
Yeah. If CM Punk's going to win the Rumble, yeah, I feel like that should main event.
Yeah, I think that one. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There you go. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.
Bum, ba-da-dun.
Dun, dun.
Bum, ba-da-dun, dun.